Well, you can tell it's campaign season as every government official is all of a sudden concerned about the problems that have been affecting real estate in Los Angeles, California, and nationally. The problem's gotten worse. Housing affordability is less affordable. There's more homelessness than ever. And all of a sudden, everybody's promising to solve all those problems. Are they going to make the problems worse or not? My contention is they will. Now, before we go into that, let's take a look at the statistics so we're clear on where we are in the market, and that way we can then from there predict where we're going to be headed. In an economy, I would say there's two parts to it. There's supply demand. Demand is driven by interest rates in real estate. Interest rates have continued to be below 7%. This past week, we had a nice drop down to at 6.34, ending at 6.54%, keeping the below 7% from the week before. These are among the lowest interest rates in about a year and a half since March 2023, and are clearly low enough to stimulate demand. So the issue is not that buyers can't afford properties. There are buyers who are shopping who all of a sudden can afford to buy 5% more home just because of drop in interest rates. So these are great opportunities for buyers. And if in fact it doesn't change the market, something else is probably the problem, not interest rates. And we'll get to that in just a second. On the supply side, there's less inventory than by historical standards, and that's the determining factor on prices. Meaning that unless there's more houses than buyers, prices can't go down. You'll notice the inventory currently is now dropping after having risen nationally. We're about ready to cross over 2022, headed toward 2023. Actually, almost the same level at the end of the year of that year. These, though, are the lowest in history other than pandemic years. In the pandemic and pre-pandemic period, we would have 800,000 or more homes for sale, maybe a million. And now we have about 540,000. So the inventory is low, it's slowly dropping, and by historical standards, it's getting tighter and tighter, which will mean that the housing prices cannot go down unless something dramatically changes in the market. Well, what could that be? We will see if there is something in that area. Now, real estate is a very local business. So before we move on from statistics, let's make sure we cover that. I'm in Southern California, Los Angeles. Actually pretty typical for around the country. I use Altos Research. They do a great job. They take all the factors and come up with a market action number. And LA is at a 39, which is a seller's market slightly, not as intense as it was last year, months ago. Had been 40, 41, 42. Now we're down to 39 or so. So still a seller's market. And I know that because as a listing agent, I still get offers of properties that are active under contract. I have multiple offers. Anything that comes on the list on the market at a reasonable price. So overall, the market in Los Angeles remains very healthy. And again, unless something changes dramatically, we're not likely to see a dramatic drop or crash in the market that's been predicted and is almost rooted for by the news around the country. So let's take a look at the news, and we'll find out how the news organizations are misleading us all the time. Last week I took to task Yahoo Finance. This week they continue. They're jumping into a very confusing area by saying that prior agent commissions are down to 2.55% since the NAR settlement. Now, if you've been following me, the NAR settlement is a settlement where realtors were sued by some disreputable, dishonest attorney in St. Louis, Missouri, and that one court case with one judge or one jury is looking to destroy the entire industry, but certainly is going to change the entire industry nationwide, which is really violates everything about our American principles. That said, notice how Yahoo wants to jump on the bandwagon, kick realtors with it down. They want to say commissions down since the NAR settlement. It's true technically, but it's really a lie because it focuses you that somehow the reduction might be because of the settlement. But if you read their article, which nobody does, basically it's just clickbait. They want you to click on it and then sell you, in this case, a car, I guess. But when you read it, it started down 2.62 in January. It was 2.9 a year ago. What's happened is a couple of things, not all bad. There are new forms of real estate where there's a lower commission in exchange for customers doing more self-service. And so obviously if a buyer's gonna do more of the work, you're gonna charge them less commission dollars. Also, there is more competition in an industry where sales are down 30%, you always have price cutting for companies trying to stay in the market. And so what they're really documenting is a 2 or 3 year long trend or longer term trend in technology, and attribute it to their hated focus, which is realtors. Again, remember, all the real estate news companies hate entrepreneurship. They love big corporations that advertise with them, and they hate realtors in particular because we're entrepreneurs. And so you see an article like this, you realize Yahoo Finance is really just a shill for the government supporting big corporate side of the equation rather than give the customers real information. But the reality is, buyers should know there is no fixed commission rate. And that's the other thing about the lawsuit. That's a big lie. This documents it. Buyers have always been able to negotiate down their commissions, as has sellers. The traditional 6%, both sides getting 3%, has been gone for years, decades probably at this point. It's just a fake argument made by politicians and news organizations to attempt to destroy real estate agents. So again, commissions are headed down, and that's in some regards is a challenge. In some regards, that's just a sign of a healthy, competitive environment, I think. Speaking of corporations that lie and cheat, Zillow has their touring agreement that puts consumers first. Now, let me tell you something about Zillow. Zillow puts Zillow first. Zillow would destroy America because their main investors aren't American. They're Australian. They're Wall Street investment companies around the world. Zillow would destroy America as long as their stock maintained its value. So they have a touring agreement because they, like all the other corporate media, supported destroying realtors through this court settlement. And so what happened is now customers can't look at property without a signed agreement acknowledging who their agent is. And if there's not an agent, do they acknowledge that? And so Zillow pretends as though they're helping the customer by saying, oh, well, we have these great forms and we'll have you sign them. But if you know anything about Zillow, they always overstep privacy. They always overstep the rules, and they get caught and say thank you, pay a fine because they're worth a lot of money, and continue. And here's a case where all they're trying to do is replace real estate agents, and real estate agents who advertise with them and support Zillow are just supporting the demise of the industry. But more importantly, I think supporting the side of evil. There's no reason why Zillow should be advertising customers to go to houses and then tying them up as customers on the spot while pretending to be an independent third party. If they want to take on the moniker of being a real estate agency, then welcome the competition. And we should treat them that way. So all of us real estate agents should make sure we understand Zillow is an agency. They're just using a Trojan horse strategy, but their argument, they're putting consumers first. Explain to me how to put the consumer first. Explain to me how not having an agent who is looking out for your best interest supports a customer. There's no way. And again, I just think it's laughable of all companies to say they put anybody first but themselves. Zillow, that's really, really rich. Okay, next up on news, flurry of news articles about how LA is handling the homeless. So for example, on one hand, you may remember we built these bike lanes. The bike lanes were because our mayor at the time, the last mayor, was a big bike advocate. And so he pushed through all kinds of biking lanes. Well, what that really meant was, were there 3 lanes, they took out 1 down to 2 and made 1 a bike lane, which basically is a war on drivers. They want everyone in Los Angeles driving metro buses and driving metro trains or riding bikes rather than using cars, which is what really built Los Angeles, Southern California. What these same people have done, these same politicians who love bikes and bike lanes and mass transit, also love the homeless. And so here's an example where the homeless have now built encampments on the bike lanes. And so you have a biker who's basically riding now in the second lane of traffic. The third lane's been taken over by the homeless on Hollywood Boulevard. And this guy's now more in danger because while before there was a narrow bike lane, which they built into a full lane of bike lane, now there's no bike lane for him because the homeless taken over. And of course, the city prefers homeless people over bike riders and over drivers and over neighbors. And so now what we created was what was a bike lane has just become another homeless encampment lane. And so here in Los Angeles, we now have on our famous Hollywood Boulevard what we want to call a homeless encampment. Should be, we call it a bike lane, but it's really a lane for the homeless people to stack their trash and do drugs, and for men to assault criminally women. Okay, continuing though, this is what I love. That same mayor, the new mayor now, Karen Bass, but the same mayor position, decides she's going to allow al fresco sidewalks where they were allowed. If you remember during COVID, when we were told that eating inside was dangerous, eating inside, take off your mask, that was dangerous. Eating outside, take off your mask isn't dangerous. The whole thing was stupid. But restaurants, as a way to stay open, were allowed to dine on the sidewalks. And I think for the most part, it's nice. In our neighborhood, we have multiple restaurants that now allow tables and chairs. And personally, I think it's a nice use of public property. But, you know, there's places that make sense, places that doesn't. What's fascinating is she can allow some of that. Of course, where they don't allow homeless people, they just take over and we don't do anything to them. But she'll allow some restaurants. And I think this is the message that those of us who are law buying and tax paying have to realize. It's easy to regulate and to destroy the business of lawful tax paying businesses. It's impossible for them to manipulate and to control lawless people who have no stake in our communities. And so the fact that Mayor allows, extends popular al fresco, they allow the rules, which is somewhat limited. And I think that I would say that we should be supporting these restaurants. If we're going to allow homelessness, we should allow the restaurants, because now the restaurant takes accountability for the property in front of their building. They'll keep it clean, they'll keep trash out, and they'll keep the homeless out. And maybe that's one way to combat it in areas where we want to do commercial activities like restaurants and stores and shops and things like that. So again, I know it's a difficult line, but I'd much rather be lenient and give the property to a business that's going to use it than just declare it a bike lane and then watch the homeless people take over and add to the destruction they have in our city. So where do the homeless people go when the city does get rid of them? Well, recently they let the cat out of the bag in San Francisco with a report that showed where they're busing them to, because the city had a program where they would give homeless people bus tickets to get out of town. Now, that doesn't sound very consistent with the plans. They always tell us how important these people are and how they deserve to be helped and how we need them and they need our help. So they actually took the data of who actually took bus trips and where. And of course, the vast majority, actually the majority, the largest number, were just shipped elsewhere in California, Oregon, Nevada, Texas. If you wonder why the local states hate California, this is just one period of time, 1 month, and one period of time, one program. But it shows at least a little bit of accountability. Now, you would think statewide we should have these numbers and be able to examine them. We don't have that. The government doesn't hold itself accountable. But here's at least a glimpse to say that all really we're doing is shipping people around our state for the most part, and to other states, they're shipping them back to us. And obviously, shipping homeless people from one location to another doesn't solve the problem. All it really does is put the problem somewhere else where they need to deal with it, and then we will face that problem again at a later date. Okay, so my premise today, the theme is about government on a global picture. I came across a fascinating article the other day that just really set me off. One of the people that really we just don't hate enough is Jamie Dimon. This is a man who stood over one of the largest banks in America. He's made a fortune beyond kings of history. While his bank was the private bank to Jeffrey Epstein with no accountability. They paid a fine. Nobody knows what he did with the money, who collected money from, who his customers were. Jamie Dimon just oversaw the approval process as the chairman of the company. The company has grown and destroyed small community banks, mid-sized banks, and really caters to international clientele more than it does even to American citizens. That said, he has a finger on the pulse of the American economy. He says the American dream is disappearing. Yeah, because he's part of the problem. And half the public no longer believe in it. So here's Jamie Dimon, and you'll notice the dress here. He's kind of in the cool jacket, not a formal jacket. This is friendly Jamie. You should like him. He's got the smile, the silver hair coming back and all. Looks very normal. He's kind of middle America. He's not. If there's one person you might want to say has been leading the destruction of the American dream, he might be one of them. When I started in real estate, banks and mortgage companies and banks and savings and loans, which they put out of business, were the primary lenders to people buying homes. That's not true today. Now you have mortgage bankers because the banks don't want to get their fingers dirty. When I started business 60 years ago, it was big banks. Bank of America, Security Pacific, Quaker National Bank, Wells Fargo. They were the primary lenders to small businesses. They don't do that much anymore. They pretend to, but in reality, they're really just a corporate banking to international conglomerates and nations of despots. And like I said, private banking for Jeffrey Epstein, so he can transfer women around the world to have them abused. That's their business. Their business is no longer focused on mortgages, no longer focused on small business. They do enough to look busy. And then here he is, wow, the American dream is dying. I wonder why. You spent your whole career, you amassed billions of dollars of personal net worth. Meanwhile, the country around you. Let's go back 4 years. Where was Jamie Dimon? What was his plan to help the American dream 4 years ago? Well, 4 years ago, he endorsed the Biden administration. He said that Biden would solve some of America's issues and problems. Now, this is a man who has tremendous power, a man who's tremendously successful. How is his assessment? Did the last 4 years solve our housing issue? By any standard, no. Did the last 4 years help our homelessness issue? By any standard, no. Are more Americans better off economically? No. Now, you might argue other reasons why you want to support the Biden administration, and you're welcome to. But on those issues, particularly in real estate, by every measure, for the average American, it's gotten a lot worse. And this is the man who supported. Now, you'll notice 4 years ago, he wanted to be powerful Jamie. He wanted to be, authoritative Jamie. So he's wearing a suit and tie and looks very corporate. Now, you might say I'm picking too hard on him in particular. I just think that he symbolizes the corporate elite class that has made decisions that affect us without our input. Here's an example I'm talking about. When you get a mortgage now, the lender's required to get what's called a 3-bureau credit report. And look how happy they are. They're hugging. Isn't that great? 3-bureau environment helps consumers. What that means is when a lender considers giving a loan, they pull 3 reports. They probably cost $1, $2, or $3 apiece from the 3 major bureaus: Experian, Equifax, and the last one, whatever. But so the government is considering allowing lenders to choose 2. And when you read the article, the lenders say, yeah, we only need 2. 2 are good enough. I remember when I started a mortgage company in 1987, and we were managed by a company out of Texas. And the company was a home builder who had never done mortgages before. They had money. And so we were closing mortgages. After 90 days, they were doing due diligence and called me in and said, hey, we have a fraud problem with your mortgages. So what do you mean? They said, well, we ran credit reports after your mortgage closed, and we noticed that the credit scores dropped tremendously. I said, interesting. Did they tell you why? They said, yeah, because after your mortgage closed, people bought a lot of stuff. And I remember looking at the president of the company. This is a man who I really committed my business to at this point. I really was what an idiot he was. I said to him, have you ever done a mortgage for a customer who bought a house? And he said, no. I said, well, what do you think the first thing they do when they buy a new house is? They buy stuff. They buy new furniture for the new house. They buy new appliances. They repaint, they remodel, they put up curtains. They buy new toys. They buy stuff for their kids. They move. They buy storage. It's a nonstop buying after you buy the house. It wasn't fraud. What we're documenting was the reality. Now, in this case, here you have lenders who do loans every day saying, well, the 2 bureaus are so good, any 2, that we don't need 3 to make effective loans, and our money's on the line. Can we save our customers money and save ourselves administrative work? And you have government bureaucrats who know nothing, who've never done a mortgage in most likelihood, certainly never did one for a customer, saying, we think you need 3, but we're going to talk about it. We're going to have seminars about it. We're going to put reports out about it. That's how our government is regulated. And you say, well, Bill, that's just the government. The government, through Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, and VA loans, controls 95% of our mortgages. So we have these faceless, nameless idiots in Washington, D.C. and Sacramento telling businesses how to run and support their customers who know nothing about the business, deciding that we need a 3 credit report pull, 2 just isn't good enough. And the answer, well, why would that be, Bill? That's a mystery. The answer is all 3 bureaus have representatives who go to the bureaucrats, take them lunch, probably bribe them, buy them gifts, hire their kids, get their kids internships at their jobs. That's what Washington, D.C. is all about. And so the government official always will vote for more regulation because more regulation always gives them more power, more control, and more opportunity for, unfortunately, abuse. And so we see these decisions, we need to realize it's not husband and wife hugging and the government making the best decision for what's best for them. It's these faceless, unaccountable government bureaucrats who've overregulated our business and are making it harder every day to do business that destroy our business in the long run. Here's another example, and I love this one. So I'm all for clean water, clean air, healthy land. I'm not for throwing trash out at all. At the same time, I don't believe climate changes. I don't believe we need to be destroying our economy to support it. We can disagree on that. But what's funny to me is you have the green people who don't want to allow us to build more houses, particularly in California, battling now the climate change people. Why is that? Because since we can't build any more houses in new areas, all the building is along the coastal areas. They would increase density, like where I live in Los Angeles, 5 miles from the ocean. We're building taller buildings and ADUs, additional dwelling units, and additional units in houses. More density where we have housing. We're not allowing building eastern, the Inland Empire, Riverside County, Sacramento County at the numbers we used to. We build in California less houses than we did 10 years ago, not more, even though we have more people. And that works against the climate change advocates who want to tell us that the ocean is going to rise and flood everybody. And so it's funny to watch those two cults, in my opinion. Both are cultists. Neither one looks at scientific data. They'll yell at you that you're wrong, but they never give you real information. And what's funny is the advocates don't even follow their own rules, meaning the same climate change people will buy mansions in Malibu, mansions in Florida and the islands, and tell us we have to cut our carbon footprint. But here's a case where they're now fighting each other. You have the environmental green people who don't want to build houses, forcing all the building into places where the climate change people are saying we're facing a climate catastrophe of epic historical proportions. So it's just funny to watch the government, between the two of them, the two sides can't really get their story right. Another example of what I would call the government overreach is the arrogance. One thing, if you listen to a government bureaucrat or you listen to the side of the people who are pro-government bureaucrats, it's the arrogance of people who've never done anything telling you how they're going to solve a problem. My biggest example would be Pete Buttigieg, a man who's never had a job outside of government or quasi-government agencies, who's running our entire transportation system. He's never run a trucking company or a rail company or built bridges or infrastructure. And you listen to him, it's not just, I disagree with his policies, it's the arrogance with which they're going to solve every problem. Here's a great example, I think. This isn't a picture of him, this is an article of him. Fed Goolsbee, he's the Chicago Fed president, Austin Goolsbee. He said the central bank will fix the US economy if it deteriorates. Oh, don't worry. If the economy goes bad, we'll solve the problem. We'll pump more money in, we'll take more money out. So this group of guys, these arrogant people who failed my entire life, we've had nothing but inflation, we've had nothing but deterioration of the value of the dollar, nonstop. They're going to solve the economy. Why is that now? Because we're election season and they want to keep their power. The last thing they want is to be held accountable for the inflation that's destroying the value of our economy. What the last thing they want is to be held accountable for the debt they've approved that's threatening to destroy our entire economy. One of the clues I always look for in people on arrogance, what's his title? He's a Chicago Fed president. These people are so pathetically narcissistic. The Federal Reserve has 12 different regions. And in most of the world, there's a president, everybody else has a vice president. But the Fed Bank, to give these narcissistic, arrogant jerks more sense of themselves, they're going to solve the economy, they have the title president. Each region has a president. So you have 12 presidents are reporting to the Federal Reserve chairman because he's going to be above the president. There's the clue, the arrogance, the pomp and circumstance of their lifestyle. They live like kings. They fly in private planes or they're signed to their organizations. They call themselves presidents and they promise to fix the economy when they've done nothing their entire lives. And this guy, when I check his resume, is another one of those. His whole life he's worked in government and quasi-government positions. Has he employed anybody? Has he built a business? No, hasn't done one at all. So what's the solution? Well, one I'm watching, I hope you are too, is in Argentina. Argentina seems to be on the precipice of destruction. And the only thing that the president there has offered to do, Milei, is reduce the size of government dramatically. And already his housing supply has risen and the rental prices have dropped because he got rid of the organization that was regulating housing. In America, we have so many organizations regulating housing just at the federal level. I did this previously. If you do a ChatGPT search or an AI search on how many are there, you can't even get an answer. It's unlimited because there's so many hundreds of organizations and there's thousands of more that put their finger in housing. And the regulation is destroying the ability to build and buy and sell. And the answer is not more government. The answer is getting regulations limited, freed up to allow people to do the business of providing housing for themselves and for their communities and their customers. Now I'm Bill Gross. I don't want me to make this negative. We do have an election coming up. And I'm just pointing you to the side that I think is the solution. The American dream of hard work, the American dream of saving money, living within your means, and investing the difference, and the American dream of buying and selling property and accumulating real estate as a way to accumulate wealth. If you have questions or comments on that, put them down below. Hope you like this. Just subscribe to it. As always, make today your best day ever.